In 1978, you played a character, Mel Beach, on Forever Fernwood.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
about that show and where you were in your life and career at that time.
I was actually it was a low time in my career, but here was a play, and there were a couple of authors on that thing, and I was trying to do a good job with it. The director did not seem to know what was happening, and then my leading lady seemed to find me not doing a good job either, and so she was. Whenever I had a laugh line, she'd manage to improve it out to nowhere. And whenever, and she was making me unhappy, but I wasn't going to make big noise over this. And so I wasn't doing well with the show yet, but I was playing the role, and I was trying to play it well. I was working with a woman who didn't find me easy to work with, and therefore I was finding her very difficult to work with. It was not a happy thing, but we were getting we did the show. We get along. It was a play, you know.
In Vegas, right? This is in Vegas?
In Vegas,
okay.
A play in Vegas. And one day my son calls up. Wait a minute, he was there.
He was with you.
Wait a minute, I call my son to find out how he's doing, because he's living with me in Vegas. And he talks like he's drunk. He talk like he's drunk. So, so Joshua, have you been drinking anything there? And the people around me were listening to the phone call, and they started laughing like crazy. I said, "Come on, Josh, do you feel all right?" "Yeah, I feel good. I feel good." But well, okay, I'll see you later on when I get home. And all right, now they're laughing like crazy. But I'm not laughing because I know that boy. And
He was about 11 or 12 then?
11.
11 years old, okay.
Anyway, I get home that night, and immediately I take him to the hospital to check him out and find out what's wrong. Because he's not drinking, he's nothing like that, but he's got this awful way of speaking, and so they check him out. We found a tumor. Yeah. He had a brain tumor. I went to my producer, who thought I was being a pain in the ass with everybody. And he didn't understand why, I wasn't getting along with this girl. And 2 weeks, I gave him 2 weeks notice. That's the union rules. So after 2 weeks, I went home. Then I went with my wife, and we really learned the difficulty. We learned how bad it really is. He had a cancer. Brain cancer. So there was no more making people laugh right now. Pretty soon he would die. Everything we loved. He was the most wonderful human being I've ever known. Joshua. I gave him my grandfather's name for a middle name, Joshua Shelley Berman. And we tried, and so did he. Then, soon enough, he gave in. They called us from the hospital to tell us he's gone. Well, what can we do? You're listening to a man tell his very sad story. It's enough. You are not obliged to be that familiar. But that was, what kind of a thing happens, to a comedian?
After the tragic death of your son, you gradually went back to work, and you started working a lot.
Yeah.
By the time you did several shows in the 70s and the 80s, one of the most prominent shows you worked on was L.A. Law in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, I was doing okay, but these were acting jobs,
right.
And pow, pow, pow.
Right. Did you enjoy that period of time though when you were acting?
I loved it. I loved the acting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, always loved the acting.
And you did a lot of it. I mean, you did a lot of acting.
I know.
In television.
I know, and I loved a lot of acting, and I did plenty.
Well, more recently, you've done a pretty iconic show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. We all know that show. How did that show come to you? How did you get involved with Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Well, I got called by the show, or by him.
Larry David?
Yeah. And he wanted me to come in and audition. So I went in, and he told me what the situation was. And I just went to town. I did, because I'm an improvisationist. Boom, 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 and it always worked. And that very day, he placed it on me. That's it. I went home to tell my wife that I'm in. And tomorrow I'll be there at work.
What part did you play in Curb?
His father.
Larry David's father, Nat David, right?
Yeah.
So the style of the show was that Larry David would work out the story, but like you said, it was a lot of improv in the actual performance.
Yes, it was.
Did you fit in? I mean, after was it like riding a bike? Were you able to fit in right away with the improv style?
Oh sure.
And did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah. Whatever the thing is, whatever idea is, well, that's exactly what I do.
Larry David plays kind of a version of himself. How much of Shelley Berman was in Nat David?
None of it that I intended.
Okay.
But you know, I looked like him, and I did what I had to do, and it was good, and it worked out. And he worked, and I worked, and it was good.
What are your favorite memories of doing the show?
I'm sorry.
What are your favorite memories of doing the show?
Favorite memories? Well, what?
I think one of your favorite shows was The Hooker.
The Hooker.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh, and that where I discovered that the woman is a hooker. She's a hooker, and the people will remember that line because they'll remember the whole thing together, where I'm waiting in the waiting room, and then she comes out and she's a hooker, you know. That many people remember that. They don't remember anything else but you just, whenever you got a line, whenever you got a chance to say a line, and he gave them to you, boom. After a while, he began to worry because I was getting all the laughs. And he was doing okay, but I was getting the laughs, and I was very happy with it.
I'm gonna mention some of the other actors, and just if you can give me a comment or just something brief about each one in the show. Jeff Garlin.
Jeff Garlin,
yeah,
good guy. He worked well, and that's him. He wasn't that terribly funny, but he did his job.
Cheryl Hines.
Cheryl Hines, that was the girl. That was the girl, and she was good and adorable. Yeah, she was fine. I liked her.
Susie Essman.
She's she had to be funny. And she was. She had to be funny. She had to figure out some ways, some words, because she was very careful in the structure of her lines. So yes, you get some fun from her.
And Larry David.
Larry, he was a nut, but very good nut. And I thought he worked very well.
How close to Larry David, the character, is the real Larry David?
It's the same guy.
Okay, good answer. Anything else you want to say about that?
No.
Okay. Did you have any rehearsal time in the show? Did you rehearse the scenes at all?
No.
No.
No. It was practically never.
What was the atmosphere like on the set?
All I know is that you got the idea and you went. I liked the working on that set. It was good.
You were nominated for an Emmy for that show. For
Yes.
Curb. How did you find out about the nomination?
I was called. And when I told him that I'd been called for nomination, I swear he was jealous. I swear he didn't believe it. He was angry. His face was that way. And his, I don't know.
The episode was called The Rat Dog, the one you were nominated for.
Well,
Do you remember that episode?
yeah, I remember.
Okay, so
I had one line. It's a rat! That's my line.
but part of the episode, Larry David's mother dies, right? And your character doesn't tell him about that, and he misses the funeral. Is that right?
No, that's it.
It wasn't the same episode.
Oh, that was a different.
No.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I have that wrong. Sorry about that, because I'm thinking the rat dog. Okay. Well, that was a funny episode too. So your last appearance was in 2009, I believe. What happened to the character? What happened to Nat David?
Huh?
What happened to the character that you played, Nat David?
Nothing. I think because Larry got divorced, he changed his lifestyle. He goes to New York, and his father didn't travel with him.
So you just weren't part of the stories, it sounds like, because Larry got divorced
They
and moved to
just
New York.
found a way to get rid of me, that's all. They just, just like that. They had to get rid of this guy. You know.
What kind of attention did you get from fans of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
A lot of it, good attention from fans.
Tell me
a
about
lot
that.
of it. Anyone who's ever seen it is filled with compliments. So.
You did also Boston Legal. You did 11 episodes of Boston Legal.
Oh boy, you couldn't get enough of that. I loved that show.
And
love that show.
And David E. Kelly was behind that show.
Yes.
And you played Judge Saunders. Did they seek you out? Did they call you to do this job?
Yes.
On that show?
Yes.
And what was your reaction?
Oh, I was thrilled. Yeah.
Before you did the show, were you familiar with it, or did you know about the show before you were on the show, Boston Legal?
It was our favorite show.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
So how was it working with some of the actors on that show? I'll name them. Let's start with William Shatner playing Denny Crane.
Who?
William Shatner was Denny Crane.
Yes.
So what was that like?
Oh, Shatner, he's beautiful. William Shatner is a very fine actor, and I loved working with him. I didn't have all the time I would love, but that was enough.
And he can be very funny too.
Yes. Yeah, I liked that.
How about James Spader, who played
James Spader.
Alan Shore?
James Spader absolutely is the best guest actor I've ever worked with. That's it. He's the chief. James Spader.
What about Candice Bergen?
Candace, she was my go-to. Whenever I felt a little sad or something or angry or something, I'd go to her. She was something. For her, I knew her father once. I just met him once.
Edgar Bergen? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we spoke to him once and just pleaded with him to come in because he was out in the alley, in the road, looking through the door, and there he was. And we said, my God, Edgar Bergen, come on in. He said, no, thank you. He refused to come in. But it was his house. He made it. And she used to ride a donkey around there. Oh, boy.
So tell me, what was your character like? What was this judge like in Boston Legal that you played?
Oh, I was very, very cautious about things, but no more jibber jabber. No more jibber jabber. Yep. No. Yeah, it was like that.
Before you did the role for the first time, did you have a conversation with David E. Kelley about what he hoped to see in the role, or how did you develop the way that judge would speak and kind of act?
I just went at it. I went at it, and everybody liked it.
Okay. You've done an amazing number of projects and episodes and shows. We haven't had time to talk about all of them, but are there some that we didn't talk about, or some of your favorites that you want to talk about that you did in your career? Are there highlights for you in terms of television?
I don't know. We were just embracing a little thing, and that is how the joy I had in teaching.
Tell me about that.
For 23 years,
Where have you been teaching?
and in USC.
USC, okay.
Yeah, and I was teaching in the program Master Professional Writing.
So comedy writing?
Master Professional Writing.
Okay.
That's the over what feature.
Okay.
My specialty was writing humor, and not comedy writing.
Okay.
Writing humor, literary and dramatic. And I've written some humor books. I've written enough. And this, and I loved doing it. I loved writing, and I liked doing that. So my students benefited from my pain in the ass attitude.
What do you feel like, what do you give your students, and what do your students give you in return?
I give them an idea. I give them the freedom to take that idea and bend it any way they want. And I tell them to enjoy themselves. It's about like that. But I haven't been teaching for 2 years now. Was it 2 years? It's killing me because I retired. And they wouldn't let me retire earlier. But that's true.
Well, that's a good thing.
Because I did retire earlier,
Yeah.
and they went to all kinds of activities in order to change that. And I found I was doing more teaching then than what I would have otherwise. I loved it. I loved it. But I wanted to quit.
Were your students aware of what you've done, your body of work, when they started your class? Were they pretty knowledgeable about what you had done when they became your students?
Oh yes, I was of course very knowledgeable about that, and there were many people who joined me in this, and they appreciated what I did, and there were people who actually violated my retirement. They wanted me there, and I'm still called for certain situations at the school. So.
Have any of your students kept in touch with you over the years? Have any of your students kept in touch with you?
Yes, yes, yes.
How did it feel as a teacher to inspire future writers?
Well, it feels good when they do good, and that does happen. A director writer, Jason Reitman.
Right.
I was very, very, very proud of that guy, and
Done pretty
but
well.
there were more,
Right.
and I didn't keep an open record for.
Why do you think your career has lasted so long? You've had a long career.
It's only because I've lived so long, and I. I just actually, I just want to keep living, and there is no actual living without my feeling certain things and enjoying certain things. There is much, much to enjoy, much to relish. I've got to be there. I've got to be there. So.
What would your fans be surprised to know about you?
What?
What would your fans be surprised to know about you?
That you write poetry.
Well, I do write poetry. I write a lot of poetry, and they are when they see some of my poems. I might get nice letters, nice email. But I haven't really made a book. Oh, my thumb.
You've been famous for a very long time. What are your feelings about being famous?
It's only natural. It's only what should happen. To a man blessed with a good mind. Ah, yes. What can I say? I can thank God for making me so brilliant. Or make, well, God's brilliant too, you know.
When people recognize you on the street, what do they say to you? What do they come up and say to you?
Well, maybe.
Didn't you used to be?
That's right. Didn't you used to be Shelley Berman?
They really say.
That's the one. Yeah. Didn't you used to be Shelley Berman? Yes.
What advice would you give? What advice would you give an aspiring performer?
An aspiring performer?
Yeah.
They will not advise you more than you yourself.
Okay. What have you been most proud of in your career?
There is no way I can be most proud of my career when in fact I am most proud of my marriage.
Okay. Do you have any big regrets?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any big regrets?
A few. A few. Mary Tyler Moore wanted me to be on her show, and I just didn't think there was enough money, so I didn't take it. I should have taken it.
How would you like to be remembered?
How would I like to be remembered? Absolutely not with the words used when I made that show and the phones were not, and the phone calls came. There is no way I can overcome that. What hell I've been through. There is no hell anywhere coming near it. Then the flat remembrance of me as a maniac, as a foul maniac.
So how would you like people to remember you?
Not that way. I would like the truth to be remembered. I would like the truth about me to be remembered. I'd stand for that. That's absolutely all I can ever brag about, all I can ever say. But so many will remember me for that bogus, terrible thing I did. That was the hardest ever. And of course, when I sit here and talk to you, there's no way I can get by without telling you about that boy we lost. No human being will ever come close to this boy's goodness and smartness. Well, there's just nobody ever will come to match it. It's something for me to remember and remember and remember. What a kid. So, Joshua, I remember.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay.
Shelley. I mean, you've given millions of people a lot of enjoyment over a lot of years.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. And,
Well, it's true.
And right now, I'm wondering if my ass is going to hurt me forever.
There you go again, see? Making us laugh.
Well, yeah, but it won't be accepted on radio.
Well, okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.